Welcome back to NTV at 1. In the wake of the shooting dead of a motorcyclist on Sunday, following reports that he had been trailing a minister's vehicle, we revisit the issue of road users' rights. Are motorcyclists more endangered on the roads if they find themselves trailing a vehicle? What kind of defensive action can motorists take to stay safe? To elaborate on these issues, we have the Director of Legal Affairs at the Foundation for Human Rights Initiative, Mrs. Maria Kadubusurwa. Welcome to NTV at 1.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, our viewers.
We start with, is there civility between motorcyclists and car drivers within our country?
Yes, before maybe I go into that question directly, I'd like to issue out that we have a rule of law, the doctrine of the rule of law in this country. And one of the critical elements therein is that there should be respect for the law. Citizens should know the law in place. So once the law is not respected, then there is deteriorating rule of law in the country. So going back to that question, yes and no. The civility between drivers and motorists is slowly deteriorating. One, there are so many causes for that. One is that many people don't know their rights, they don't know their obligations, and don't know the law in place. And there are other secondary factors which are maybe the increasing traffic jam. Everyone wants to rush home to do this and that. So that causes a lot of friction among motorists in place.
Now, one thing that we did highlight at the beginning of the bulletin was the fact that President Museveni in March 2017 said, if you find someone trailing you, you can deal with it. Deal with them. Yes? Where does this go into the rule of law? The legal perspective of what was said and what should actually be happening?
Yes. So as I mentioned earlier, the rule of law brings out that as I mentioned, that there should be critical elements. One of them that I mentioned earlier is the citizens or the people should know the laws in place, and they should be able to understand and respect them. So among that, bringing in that perspective, I'll talk about the conduct of the road users. When I talk about a road user, I'm talking about motorists, I'm talking about cyclists, pedestrians, passengers, and all those people we can find on the road. So there's a law specifically targeting how we should conduct ourselves on the road. Specifically, that is the Traffic and Road Safety Act that was passed in 1998. But specifically, there's even a regulation there under, which is the Traffic and Road Safety Rules on the Road Regulations. And there under it stipulates clearly how should we behave. When you're faced with a difficulty, you should always respect the other road user. No one is above the law. There are systems in place, there are laws in place which should be respected. Yes.
So when we talk about how we should behave, if one feels threatened, what should a cyclist do? If a passenger, even in a car, it could be a public vehicle, or me in my private car as a driver, how should I behave in such a manner?
Well, the law, that is the regulation specifically, that is the Traffic and Road Safety Rules on the Road Regulations that were passed in 2004, clearly stipulated how we should behave in such a situation. For example, the regulation, there's one which is specifically on signaling. If you're in trouble, you feel like you're threatened, you want to prevent, you want to alert people, it clearly says that you need to notify. How do you notify? You make a loud, something audible, an audible sound. You make a luminous, sound, so that someone, even other road users, can know there's a problem here and here, come maybe and help me. Better still, when you feel threatened, you can always run to the nearest petrol station. Drive off and run to the nearest the nearest police station and ask for help. I'm sure the traffic police officers at that station will be able to help. But in an emergency, signal. Let the road users know that there's a problem here and here, and that is stipulated clearly under the regulations.
Okay. Yes. So the signal would be double indicators. Double indicators,
something bright, not something which is going to endanger the persons near you or to endanger even this person. You should signal out so that other road users know or come to your aid, know that there's a problem here and I need to be helped.
Okay, and speaking of Bodaboda riders and also the drivers on the road, should we perhaps just have separate lanes for each individual, for these different road users?
For now, that would be good. How ideal it's going to be and how realistic it's going to be, that is another question. But it will be good if we all try to respect other road users. That would be best, it would be better. But in the meantime, while that hasn't happened, having different lanes for all traffic road users, then let's try as much as we can to respect other road users on the road.
And lastly, one that you know, a number of times in law, I could be doing something that will infringe on your rights later on.
Yes.
So how do we deal with being vigilant and not infringing on someone else's rights? If you give an example of I am a Bodaboda rider, I am wearing a hoodie because it's cold, I have a helmet on, and I have gloves on as well, just to make sure that in case of an accident, I am not harmed. But then someone who is in a car, maybe at 5 a.m., thinks I am out to get them. Where do you draw the line between vigilance and infringing on someone else's line?
Oh, that is a tricky one, and it's really bringing a lot of problems actually. However, we should try, you know, all road users are told, you know, when you start driving or when you're on the road, they always tell us to look out for dangers, signs out there. So in case that you've reached at that extent, not everyone who's following you, or maybe a Bodaboda rider, which is the case, because it's embedded in people's minds that if someone is following you late into the night, you kind of get, you know, scared. So drive as much as you can, fast as much as you can. Try to reach a place, maybe in case the nearest police station, you know, a crowded area. I'm sure in such areas, this person will be what? Scared, you know, will kind of back off.
Yes.
And drive with, you know, those signs, those signals, make them as loud as you can. Make sure you're not going to endanger, because you may not know what this person following you is up to, but just to be on a safe side, signal out as much as you can. Let other people around you drive as fast as you can to the nearest station, police station, to the nearest crowded area, city center, somewhere, so that you can be protected.
Okay, thank you so much. We have been joined by Mrs. Maria Kadubosulwa. She is the Director of Legal Affairs at the Foundation of the Human Rights Initiative. Now, you definitely know what you can do in case you feel that your life is in danger.